Greetings, minions! We have a fine film for you this time. Nosferatu, Symphony of Horror. That's right, the original 1922 film that began a lifetime of vampire films and spooky horror. The story begins in the later days of World War I. Soon-to-be director F.W. Murnau was serving in the German military, and he came across a farmer and his son. His son was convinced that his father was a vampire. This stuck in our future director's head for many years. He eventually met another man who was starting up a film company. This was all the rage in Germany. It was the new art form, and everyone wanted to make films. Together, they formed Prana Studios with the intention of making a series of movies about occultism and all sorts of mysticism and psychic phenomena of the day. They were determined that they would make 30 or more films in this genre, and that would be all that their studio would make. Unfortunately for them, they made one film, which was Nosferatu, and then the studio went bankrupt. Murnau hired a virtually unknown actor named Maximilian Schreck, or Max Schreck. Not the same character from Batman Returns, but he is named after the real Max Schreck. Schreck might not even have been his real last name. It might have been a stage name, but we don't know because he was a very private man and there's not a lot of information about him. We do know that he also served in World War I and actually was in the trenches in World War I where he saw a lot of disease spread by rats, which became a theme in Nosferatu. Now, Nosferatu was a low-budget German film for a German audience, and they freely adapted Bram Stoker's Dracula to make their movie about a vampire. The screenplay was written to include the vampire bringing to this German town a plague of rats, which spread the Black Death. It's horrifying. All of these people who worked on this film had all served in the First World War and were all very traumatized by it, and a lot of those horrific themes play through the movie and get into the psychology of the viewers' heads. The film did very well on its release. It was highly promoted. Murnau had released another film 2 days later after the premiere of Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror. But it wasn't long before Bram Stoker's widow got wind of the production. And was not happy about it because she had recently been approached by Universal Studios in America to produce a proper version of Dracula. She decided to sue the production company and won. They were ordered to destroy every copy, every print of the film. That did not happen. One copy ended up in the vault at Universal Studios, and there were some that had already been distributed around the world for people to view. That got hidden, but it was considered a lost classic for many years until it was revived and reissued. There have been several reissues of the film. Some have tried to include the original soundtrack of the film. There was music originally written to be played simultaneously as the silent movie was showing. There would be an organist playing this composition specifically written for the film. But a lot of those notes and music were lost over the years, and so people have rescored it and reissued the film with different music. There's even a heavy metal, death metal version soundtrack for one version. You're not seeing that one. You're going to be seeing another version. There's also a comedic version where someone went in and added sound effects and voices and made funny dialogue, making fun of a lot of political figures in the 1930s. the movie has been remade twice. The 1979 Nosferatu the Vampire, starring Klaus Kinski, was a fairly decent adaptation of the Nosferatu movie, though they did use the character names from Dracula. They had been changed for the silent version because it was for a German audience and they would relate better to German names. There's also a 2024 version which was released not long ago. People really admire this story. It is a little different than Dracula, though it is Dracula. And this movie was made, the version you're going to see, was made at a time when there weren't all the movie tropes about vampires. There's many a standard set by this film, and it has a haunting presence. Even if you're not scared by some of what you see in this film, it will linger with you for a very long time. So please enjoy Nosferatu, a Symphony of Horror.